The ship hummed quietly as Cadet Olivia Martinez looked out at the stars from the observation deck. This was her first mission away from Earth, and she still couldn't believe she had been chosen. At 23 years old, she was the youngest member of Earth's Interstellar Academy to be sent on a diplomatic mission. 6 humans total had come aboard the alien vessel called Dark Star Envoy, but Olivia was the only cadet among seasoned diplomats and military officers. Captain Frank Ellis approached her as she stared out the window. "Nervous, Martinez?" he asked, with a small smile. His gray hair and lined face showed his 30 years of service in Earth's space forces. "A little, sir," she admitted. "I've studied the Vrakashi language and customs for 3 years, but meeting them in person is different," Ellis nodded. "That's why you're here. Your test scores in xenolinguistics were the highest the Academy has ever seen. You understand them better than anyone else we have." Olivia didn't mention the other reason she was selected. Her file included special notes about her enhanced reflexes and her ability to stay calm under pressure. These were rare traits that made her valuable beyond her language skills. "The Vrakashi will join us in 1 hour for the welcome ceremony," Ellis said. "Remember what we discussed. No sudden movements, keep your hands visible, and never show your teeth when you smile." "Yes, sir," Olivia replied. She straightened her blue cadet uniform and touched the small earth pin on her collar for luck. The Dark Star Envoy was huge, at least 3 times larger than any human ship. The walls were made of a strange metal that seemed to shift colors as she walked past. The air was thicker than Earth's, but still breathable for humans. At exactly the planned time, the doors to the main hall opened. The Vrakashi entered, and Olivia had to stop herself from gasping. She had seen pictures, but they didn't capture how tall these aliens truly were. The shortest one was over 7 feet tall. Their bodies were covered in hard, plate-like skin that looked like a natural armor. Each had 4 arms and 2 legs, with 3 fingers on each hand. Their heads had 6 eyes arranged in a circle, and below them were moving parts that looked like insect mandibles. The leader stepped forward. He wore red markings on his chest plates and gold bands around his upper arms. This was Supreme Commander Xiltak, the highest-ranking Vrakashi on the ship. "Welcome, humans," he said in a clicking language that was translated through the devices. In the humans' ears. "We are pleased to open discussions between our peoples." Captain Ellis bowed slightly. "The United Earth Government thanks you for this opportunity, Supreme Commander." Olivia watched carefully as the aliens moved around the room. Her training had taught her to notice small details about their body language. When they were relaxed, their upper shoulders stayed low. When nervous, a small flap near their necks would flutter. Right now, they seemed calm and interested. Over the next 3 days, the talks went well. The Vrakashi wanted to establish trade routes through space that humans controlled. They offered technology and minerals in exchange. Captain Ellis and his team seemed happy with the progress. On the evening of the 4th day, the Vrakashi invited the humans to a special dinner. They called it the Feast of New Bonds. Olivia helped the human team prepare by explaining Vrakashi eating customs. "They will offer you a drink in a blue cup," she told them. "You must take it with both hands and drink it all at once. This shows trust." The feast hall was beautiful. Strange plants that glowed soft purple lined the walls. A long table made of the same color-shifting metal as the rest of the ship stood in the center. The Vrakashi were already seated when the humans arrived. Supreme Commander Xiltak stood and raised his arms. "Tonight we celebrate the beginning of a relationship between our peoples that will last for generations." The humans took their seats. Olivia sat at the far end, next to Lieutenant Sam Peters, a friendly officer who had been kind to her since the mission began. "You've done great work, kid," Peters whispered. "The brass will be impressed when we get home." Olivia smiled but kept her lips closed, remembering not to show her teeth. As she did, she noticed something odd. The neck flaps of 3 Vrakashi guards near the door were fluttering rapidly. They were nervous or excited about something. She frowned slightly and began to pay closer attention to the room. The first course came. Strange blue fruits that tasted like sweet potatoes. Then came the promised drinks in blue cups. Everyone took them as Olivia had instructed as they drank. Olivia noticed the Supreme Commander making a hand signal she didn't recognize. It wasn't in any of the training materials. Then she saw him touch something under the table. A feeling of dread filled her stomach. She leaned toward Peters to whisper a warning, but before she could speak, the commander stood up suddenly. "The humans must never leave this vessel," Ziltek announced in his clicking language. The translation came through Olivia's earpiece, but she realized with horror that the other humans' translators had been turned off somehow. They were smiling politely, not understanding the words. "Their worlds will make excellent breeding grounds," the commander continued. Olivia jumped to her feet. "Captain Ellis, it's a trap," she shouted. In that same moment, a Vrakashi guard raised a weapon. A bright beam of energy shot across the table and hit Captain Ellis directly in the chest. He fell backward, a smoking hole where his heart had been. Chaos erupted. The humans reached for their sidearms, but they were too slow. Energy beams filled the room. Lieutenant Peters was hit next, then the others. Olivia dove under the table as shots passed overhead. She crawled toward the exit, but a Vrakashi spotted her. The alien fired. The energy blast caught her in the left shoulder, spinning her around and slamming her against the wall. Pain exploded through her body as she slid to the floor, leaving a streak of blood on the metal surface. Through blurry eyes, she saw the Vrakashi turning away, not bothering to check if she was dead. They were gathering around their commander, who was now standing over Captain Ellis's body. "Begin transmission to the fleet," Ziltek ordered. "Tell them the human delegation has agreed to our terms and welcomed our ships into their space. By the time their government realizes what has happened, our forces will already be in position." Olivia's vision darkened at the edges. The pain in her shoulder was intense, but something else was happening in her body. The special implants all cadets received during their training had activated. Chemicals flooded her system, blocking pain and enhancing her focus. 20-3 seconds. That's all she had before the Vrakashi would secure the room and send their message. 23 seconds to act, or humanity would face a surprise invasion they couldn't possibly prepare for. 23 seconds. That was all the time Olivia had. Her shoulder burned where the energy blast had hit her, but her mind was suddenly very clear. The combat drugs from her military implants were working now, pushing away the pain and fear. Time seemed to slow down around her as her enhanced senses took in every detail of the room. 1 second had passed. The Vrakashi were celebrating their easy victory. They didn't even look at the fallen humans anymore. Their mistake was thinking that a shot to the shoulder would kill a human. For their species, such a wound would be fatal because their main nerve center ran through that area. But human bodies were different. 5 seconds now. Olivia's training kicked in. During her 3 years at the academy, they had placed knowledge directly into her brain while she slept. Combat moves, alien weaknesses, survival skills, all of it was there, waiting to be used. She remembered now that every Vrakashi had a special weakness. Their head connected to their body by a thin section that contained their main brain. The rest of their body could function without it, but all their thoughts and plans were in that head. 8 seconds. Her hand touched something cold at her side. It was the ceremonial knife that Supreme Commander Ziltak had given her earlier that day as a symbol of trust. The knife was made of a dark metal that seemed to absorb light. The Vrakashi didn't think of it as a weapon when they gave it to her. In their culture, it was just a decoration to honor guests. They didn't know that humans could turn anything into a weapon when needed. 12 seconds gone. Olivia moved now, staying low and using the large dinner table as cover. Blood dripped from her wound, but she ignored it. The Vrakashi were all focused on their leader, who stood with his back to her. He was recording a message to send to their fleet, explaining how the foolish humans had welcomed them with open arms. 17 seconds. She was directly behind Ziltek now. The other Vrakashi were busy with equipment setting up the transmission. None of them noticed the wounded human. Female rising slowly behind their leader. Olivia saw what she needed during their victory celebrations. The Vrakashi extended their necks in a special display, exposing the vulnerable connection between head and body. Ziltak was doing this now, his neck stretched upward as he spoke. Proudly of their coming invasion. 20 seconds. Olivia moved with all the speed her enhanced muscles could provide. She jumped up and grabbed Ziltak's upper right arm with her good hand. Before he could react, she swung herself around to his back and drove the ceremonial knife directly into the exposed area, where his head joined his body. 23 seconds. The blade cut clean through. There was a spray of blue blood as the commander's head separated from his body. Strangely, the body remained standing, its limbs still moving slightly. This was another strange thing about Vrakashi. Their bodies had a second, smaller brain that controlled basic movement. But all the intelligence, all the plans, all the knowledge was in the head, which was now in Olivia's hands. The room went completely silent. The other Vrakashi froze, staring in shock at the human female who held their leader's severed head. Olivia stood tall despite her wound. Blue Vrakashi blood covered her front, mixing with her own red blood that flowed from her shoulder. Her cadet uniform, once crisp and blue, was now a mess of purple where the two blood types mixed. "Stop the transmission," she said in perfect Vrakashi language. Her voice didn't shake at all. The translation implant in her throat perfectly mimicked their clicking speech patterns. None of the aliens moved. They seemed unable to process what they were seeing. Olivia raised the head higher. "By the ancient laws of combat succession, I now speak with the voice of Keltak," she declared, using formal words she had studied but never expected to use. "I have claimed the right of leadership through blood victory." The second commander finally broke the silence. "Impossible," he said. "No off-worlder can invoke the blood right. You are just prey. You cannot know our sacred laws." "And yet I do," Olivia replied. She shifted her stance to a formal position that only Vrakashi leaders used. "Check your sacred texts. The law is clear. Any being who takes the head of a commander in fair combat may claim their authority." The second commander hissed but went to a wall panel. He pressed several controls and ancient writing appeared on the screen. The other Vrakashi gathered around, reading with their multiple eyes. "It is true," one of them finally said. "The law makes no mention of species. It says only the victor who holds the head." The second commander turned back to Olivia. "This has never happened before. No non-Vrakashi has ever claimed blood right." "There is always a first time," Olivia said. She was feeling weaker now as the initial surge of combat drugs began to fade, but she didn't let it show. "Your commander planned to violate a peaceful diplomatic mission. He planned to invade worlds that welcomed you in good faith. This dishonors all Vrakashi." Several of the aliens lowered their head plates, a sign of shame in their culture. The second commander approached Olivia slowly. She tensed, ready for another fight despite her wound, but instead of attacking, he lowered himself to one knee. "The law is absolute," he said. "What are your orders, new commander?" Olivia almost laughed at the absurdity of it all. Here she was, a cadet barely out of training, now apparently in command of an alien warship. But she kept her face serious. Any sign of weakness now could get her killed. "First, treat my wound," she ordered. "Then bring me all information about your fleet's positions and plans." The second commander hesitated. "That is restricted military information," Olivia raised the severed head. "Am I not your commander now? Do you challenge the blood right already?" "No, commander," he said quickly. "It will be done." Two Vrakashi approached with medical equipment. Olivia allowed them to treat her shoulder, though she watched them carefully to make sure they didn't try to poison her. The wound was serious but not life-threatening. The energy weapon had cauterized much of the damage even as it tore through muscle and skin. As they worked, Olivia's mind raced. She needed to find a way to contact Earth and warn them about the Vrakashi fleet. But more immediately, she needed to maintain control of this ship and convince these aliens to follow her. The blood right might give her temporary authority, but she knew they would be looking for any excuse to challenge her claim. Her eyes moved to the severed head she still held. According to her studies, Vrakashi heads remained alive for several hours after separation from the body. The brain inside was still active, still thinking. And if Academy training was correct, there was a way she could use that to her advantage. "Bring me a neural interface," she ordered as the medics finished with her shoulder. "I need to connect with my predecessor's memories." The second commander's eyes widened. "You know the memory transfer?" he asked in disbelief. Olivia nodded confidently, though this was based only on theoretical knowledge. "Of course. How else would a new commander know the secrets of the old one?" The aliens exchanged looks of confusion and fear. They had severely underestimated what humans knew about their species, and they were about to learn just how dangerous that mistake had been. The neural interface looked like a silver crown with thin wires hanging from it. A Vrakashi medical officer brought it to Olivia with clear reluctance. She sat in what had been Ziltak's command chair, still holding his severed head. Her wounded shoulder had been bandaged, but it throbbed with each heartbeat. "This is sacred technology," the medical officer said. "No non-Vrakashi has ever used it." "There seem to be many things no non-Vrakashi has done before today," Olivia replied. She kept her voice steady and confident even though inside she was terrified. She had only read about this procedure in Academy texts. No human had ever actually tried it. The medical officer placed the crown on Ziltak's head. The wires automatically attached themselves to specific points. Then the officer handed Olivia what looked like a metal headband. "This will connect your mind to his," he explained. "The process is unpleasant." Olivia nodded and put on the headband. Immediately, a sharp pain shot through her skull. She gripped the arms of the command chair to keep from crying out. The Vrakashi were watching her closely for any sign of weakness. Images flashed through her mind, alien memories that weren't hers. She saw Ziltak's childhood on a world with 3 sons. She felt his pride when he first became a warrior. And then she found what she needed, the invasion plans. The Vrakashi fleet was hiding behind the third moon of a gas giant in this solar system. They were waiting for Ziltak's signal to attack. There were 27 warships, each capable of destroying an entire city. She also learned something that made her blood run cold. The Vrakashi had done this before to 12 other species. They would pretend to be peaceful, establish diplomatic relations, then strike without warning. They believed that any species that could be tricked didn't deserve to survive. Olivia removed the headband, blinking as her vision returned to normal. The second commander stood before her, watching with his 6 eyes. "You have seen his thoughts," he stated. "It wasn't a question." "Yes," Olivia answered. "I know about the fleet hiding behind the third moon. I know about the 12 worlds you have conquered this way before." Murmurs spread among the Vrakashi in the command center. They had not expected her to access so much information so quickly. "What will you do now, Commander?" the second commander asked. There was a challenge in his voice. Olivia stood up, still holding Ziltak's head. "First, we will send a message to the fleet. They are to remain in position and take no action until I give new orders." "They will not obey a human," one of the warriors said. "They will obey the holder of the blood right," Olivia countered. "Show me on the viewer so they can see their former commander's head in my hands." "The law is absolute, is it not?" The second commander couldn't argue with that. He ordered the communications officer to establish a link with the fleet. Soon, the large screen at the front of the command center showed the face of a Vrakashi fleet. "Admiral." The admiral's mandibles clicked rapidly when he saw Olivia standing there with Ziltak's head. "What is this?" he demanded. "I am Cadet Olivia Martinez of Earth," she announced formally. "By right of combat and the ancient laws of succession, I now command the Darkstar Envoy and all forces under Ziltak's control." The admiral's neck flaps fluttered in agitation. "Impossible. A human cannot. The law makes no mention of species," the second commander interrupted. "She has claimed the blood right legally. We have verified in the sacred texts." There was a long silence as the admiral processed this information. Finally, he asked, "What are your orders, Commander?" "Maintain your current position," Olivia said. "Take no action against human worlds or ships. I will send new orders within one planetary rotation. The Admiral pressed his upper right hand to his chest, a gesture of obedience, and the communication ended. Olivia released a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. It had worked for the next several hours. Olivia used the neural interface to learn everything she could about Vrakashi technology, culture, and military capabilities. Each session with the interface was painful, but she endured it. She needed this knowledge to keep control of the ship and to find a way to protect Earth. She discovered that the Vrakashi respected strength above all else. Their entire society was built on the idea that the strongest should lead. By defeating Xiltak, she had proven herself strong in their eyes. But she also learned that any sign of weakness would invite challenges to her authority. That night, when she was finally alone in the commander's quarters, Olivia allowed herself to feel the full weight of what had happened. Her shoulder hurt terribly now that she wasn't in front of the Vrakashi. 5 humans, her fellow diplomats, were dead. She was alone on an alien ship, surrounded by beings who would kill her the moment she showed any vulnerability. She looked at Xiltak's head, which she had placed in a special preservation container as tradition required. According to Vrakashi custom, she would need to carry it with her for 3 days to fully establish her right to command. What am I going to do? She whispered to herself. Earth needed to be warned about the Vrakashi threat. But if she contacted Earth directly, the Vrakashi might see it as betrayal and kill her immediately. She needed to find a way to send a message without the aliens knowing. A plan began to form in her mind. The Vrakashi ships had escape pods designed for emergency evacuations. If she could program one to return to Earth with a warning message ... But first, she needed to secure her position as commander. The second commander had accepted her claim, but she had seen the doubt in his eyes. He was looking for any excuse to challenge her. She needed to show the crew that she understood their ways and could lead them effectively. The next morning, Olivia called the ship's officers to the command center. She stood before them, straight and tall despite her injury. She had not slept, but she didn't let her exhaustion show. The former commander planned to attack Earth through deception, she told them. This is not the way of true warriors. The Vrakashi I have learned about through the memory transfer are proud fighters who face their enemies directly. Several officers nodded at this. She was appealing to their sense of honor. If you wish to fight humans, then declare war properly. She continued. But know this, humans have fought many wars among ourselves. We have survived disasters that should have destroyed us. We look small and weak to you, but we are not easy to kill. She touched her wounded shoulder. Your former commander shot me and thought I was dead. 23 seconds later, I took his head. That is what humans are capable of. The second commander stepped forward. You speak with wisdom, Commander, he said, though Olivia could hear the reluctance in his voice. What course do you set for us now? Olivia looked around the room at the alien faces watching her. She needed time to figure out how to save Earth, and to do that she needed these warriors to follow her. We will continue diplomatic discussions, but honestly this time, she said. No tricks, no hidden fleets. True negotiation between species. Those are my orders. As the officers left to carry out her instructions, Olivia wondered how long she could maintain this delicate balance. She had bought some time, but she was still one human alone on an alien ship playing a dangerous game, with the fate of Earth at stake. 3 days passed with Olivia maintaining her precarious control over the Vrakashi ship. She carried Xiltak's preserved head with her everywhere as their customs required. Her shoulder was healing, but she still felt pain with every movement. The medical treatments the aliens provided were designed for their biology, not human bodies. On the morning of the 4th day, Olivia was allowed to place the head in a special container in the ship's memorial hall. This marked the official end of the succession period. According to Vrakashi law, she was now the permanent commander of the vessel. The second commander, whose name was Vrikter, approached her after the ceremony. You have followed our ways well for an off-worlder, he said. His tone was still not friendly, but there was a hint of respect in it now. I studied your culture carefully, Olivia replied. What she didn't say was that most of her knowledge came from the painful neural interface sessions with Xiltak's memories. The fleet admiral requests new orders, Richter said. They have waited as you commanded, but they grow restless. This was the moment Olivia had been preparing for. She had spent the last 3 days learning everything she could about Vrakashi ships and communication systems. During the night, when most of the crew was resting, she had secretly programmed one of the small scout ships to carry a warning message to Earth. It was ready to launch whenever she created a distraction. Tell the admiral to bring the fleet. Here, she ordered. I wish to address all ship captains directly. Richter's neck flaps fluttered in surprise. You would bring the entire battle fleet to one location? That is not wise strategy. Are you questioning my orders? Olivia asked. Sharply, she had learned that Vrakashi respected decisive leadership. No, Commander, Richter said quickly. I will relay your command. As he moved away to send the message, Olivia walked to the main view screen. She looked out at the stars, wondering if she would ever see Earth again. Her plan was dangerous. If it failed, she would die, and Earth would be defenseless against the Vrakashi invasion. Later that day, Olivia called all the ship's senior officers to the command center. She stood before them in her blood-stained cadet uniform. She had refused to wear Vrakashi clothing, wanting them to remember she was human. I have studied your species through the former commander's memories, she began. The Vrakashi believe that strength determines who deserves to survive. You think that because you defeated 12 other species, you are superior to them. The officers watched her silently, their multiple eyes unblinking. But true strength is not just about weapons or physical power, Olivia continued. It is about adaptation, intelligence, and cooperation. Humans may seem weak to you physically, but we have survived on a world that tried to kill us in countless ways. She touched a control panel, and images appeared on the view screen. These were Earth's history, stored in her personal data device that she had secretly connected to the ship's system. These are humans fighting against natural disasters, she explained, showing floods, fires, and storms. These are humans surviving in the hottest deserts and the coldest mountains. We have lived through plagues that killed millions of us, yet we survived and grew stronger. She showed them human wars next, the terrible battles where humans fought each other with increasing deadliness. The Vrakashi officers leaned forward, interested now. We have been killing each other for thousands of years, Olivia said grimly. We know more about warfare than you can imagine. And yet, we still seek peace when possible. Not because we are weak, but because we understand that cooperation can create greater strength than conflict. Richter stepped forward. You speak. Well, Commander, but words do not win battles. When our fleet arrives, an alarm suddenly blared through the ship, cutting him off. The tactical officer rushed to his station. Commander, he called out, unknown vessels approaching at high speed. They appear to be ... human warships? Olivia's heart jumped. She hadn't sent her warning yet. How could Earth ships be here? The view screen changed to show 3 large vessels moving toward them. Olivia recognized them immediately, Earth's most powerful battleships, led by the UES Defender. They must have been sent to find the missing diplomatic team when no reports came back. They are hailing us, the communications officer reported. Put them on screen, Olivia ordered, trying to hide her surprise. The face of Admiral Dan Gray appeared on the screen. Her eyes widened when she saw Olivia. Cadet Martinez, is that you? The Admiral asked in disbelief. We've been searching for the diplomatic team for days. What's happening there, and why are you covered in blue blood? Before Olivia could answer, Richter moved to stand beside her. This human is our commander by right of combat, he announced. Proudly, she defeated Xiltak and claimed the blood right. Admiral Gray looked confused. Cadet, I need an explanation, now. Olivia took a deep breath. This was not how she had planned things, but maybe it was better. Admiral, the diplomatic. Mission was a trap. The Vrakashi planned to use us to gain access to Earth for an invasion. They killed the rest of our team, but I survived and took control of the situation. She quickly explained what had happened, the ambush, the 23 seconds that changed everything, and how she had been maintaining control of the ship while trying to find a way to warn Earth. "There's more," she added. "They have a fleet of 27 warships hiding behind the third moon of the gas giant. I ordered them to come here so I could create a distraction and send a warning to Earth. But now that you're here, Admiral..." Gray's expression hardened. "I understand. Stand by, Cadet. We'll handle this." The view screen changed to show the approaching Earth ships taking up battle positions. "They will attack," Vrichter exclaimed. "We must defend ourselves." "No," Olivia said firmly. "There will be no battle today." She turned to face all the Vrakashi officers. "You have seen human strength now. Our ships found you even without my warning. They came prepared for battle to rescue just 6 humans. What do you think will happen if you threaten our entire world?" The command center was silent as the aliens considered her words. "I propose a true peace agreement," Olivia continued. "Not based on deception, but on mutual respect. The Vrakashi value strength now. You have seen that humans are strong in ways you didn't understand before." Vrichter looked from Olivia to the Earthships on the screen and back again. Finally, he pressed his upper right hand to his chest in the gesture of obedience. "You have proven yourself a worthy commander," he said. "If you believe peace is the stronger path, we will follow." Olivia tried not to show her relief. "Open a channel to the fleet admiral," she ordered. "Tell him to bring the ships here not for war, but for peace talks. And then open a private channel to Admiral Gray. I need to explain everything to her." As the communications officer carried out her orders, Olivia allowed herself a small smile. She had done it. Against impossible odds, she had not only survived, but had potentially prevented a war. All because of 23 seconds of desperate courage and everything that followed. The Vrakashi would never again underestimate humans. And Earth would never forget the cadet who returned from a failed diplomatic mission drenched in alien blood, holding an enemy commander's head. 2 weeks later, Olivia stood in the grand meeting hall of the Earth Central Government Building. The room was filled with military officers, government officials, and news reporters. At the center of the room was a large round table where representatives from Earth sat on one side and Vrakashi delegates sat on the other. Olivia wore a new cadet uniform, her wounded shoulder now properly healed by Earth doctors. The old blood-stained uniform had been preserved and placed in the Academy Museum as a historic artifact. Beside her stood Admiral Gray, who had become her strongest supporter since the rescue. "Are you ready, Cadet Martinez?" the Admiral asked. Quietly, "Yes, ma'am," Olivia replied, though her stomach was filled with butterflies. After everything she had faced on the Vrakashi ship, she shouldn't be nervous about a meeting, but this was different. Today, they would sign the first official peace treaty between humans and Vrakashi. The Earth President entered the room, and everyone stood. He walked directly to Olivia and shook her hand. "Cadet Martinez, what you accomplished is nothing short of miraculous," he said. "You saved not only yourself, but potentially our entire planet." Olivia nodded respectfully. "I just did what I was trained to do, sir." "Well, your training served you well," the President said with a smile. Then he turned serious. "The Vrakashi have requested that you join the official delegation as our primary representative. They say they will only negotiate with the blood." "Commander, are you comfortable with that role?" "Yes, sir," Olivia said. "I've spent more time with them than anyone else. I understand their ways." The President nodded and moved to the table. Olivia followed and took her seat directly across from Vrichter, who now led the Vrakashi delegation. His upper right hand touched his chest in greeting, and Olivia returned the gesture. The formal negotiations began. For hours, they discussed trade routes, technology exchange, and security agreements. The other human delegates were surprised at how easily Olivia navigated the complex Vrakashi customs and speech patterns. What they didn't know was that she still carried some of Geltuk's memories from the neural interface, giving her insights no other human could have. During a break in the talks, Vrichter approached Olivia as she stood by a window looking out at the city. "Your world is beautiful," he said. Different from ours, but impressive in its own way. Thank you, Olivia replied. I hope someday I can see your homeworld too. Victor's neck flaps fluttered slightly, a sign of amusement that Olivia now recognized easily. You would be welcomed as a hero there, he said. Songs are already being sung about the human female who claimed the blood right, some young Vrakashi. Females have even started wearing their hair like yours. Olivia couldn't help but laugh at the image of Vrakashi trying to copy her simple ponytail. I'm glad to be a positive influence, she said. Victor became serious. Not all my people are happy about this piece. Some believe we should have continued with Ziltox's plan. They think humans are still prey, despite your actions. And what do you think? Olivia asked. I think any species that can produce warriors like you deserves respect, he answered honestly. In those 23 seconds when you took our commander's head, you changed how I see all humans. The negotiations resumed, and by evening they had reached an agreement. The peace treaty would establish regular diplomatic contact between humans and Vrakashi. Both species would share certain technologies but keep their military secrets. And most importantly, neither would attack the other's worlds. As Olivia signed her name to the document, she thought about how strange life could be 1 month ago. She had been just another cadet at the academy, nervous about her first mission. Now she was signing a historic peace treaty after commanding an alien warship. After the ceremony, Admiral Gray found Olivia alone in a quiet corner of the reception hall. How are you holding up? The Admiral asked. I'm fine, ma'am, Olivia said automatically. Admiral Gray raised an eyebrow. Really? Because most people would be having nightmares after what you went through. Olivia looked down at her hands. She hadn't told anyone about the dreams that woke her each night, dreams of energy, blasts and blue blood and the feeling of a knife cutting through alien flesh. I do have some trouble sleeping, she admitted quietly. The Admiral nodded. That's normal. You've been through something no human has ever experienced before, but you're not alone now. We have people who can help you process what happened. Thank you, ma'am, Olivia said. What happens next for me? Do I go back to the academy? Admiral Gray smiled. Actually, I have something different in mind. The President has approved the creation of a new position, human ambassador to the Vrakashi. We need someone who understands their culture, someone they already respect, someone who has proven she can handle crisis situations with remarkable calm. Olivia's eyes widened. Me? But I'm just a cadet. I haven't even graduated yet. Sometimes life puts us on unexpected paths, the Admiral said. You've already accomplished more than most diplomats do in a lifetime. The academy training can be completed through special arrangements. What do you say? Before Olivia could answer, a commotion near the main doors caught their attention. A group of Vrakashi warriors entered, carrying a large metal container. They marched directly to Olivia and set the container down in front of her. Victor stepped forward. Blood Commander, he said formally, we bring you a gift from our homeworld. Our Council of Elders sent this when they heard of the peace treaty. He opened the container to reveal a set of armor unlike anything Olivia had seen before. It was made of the same shifting metal as the Vrakashi ship, but sized for a human body. At its center was a small clear window containing what looked like a piece of preserved blue tissue. This is honored commander armor, Victor explained. It has never been given to a non-Vrakashi before. The window contains a piece of Siltek's neural tissue, symbolizing that his knowledge lives on through you. Olivia was speechless. This was clearly a tremendous honor in their culture. The Council also asks that you visit our homeworld for a formal ceremony, Victor continued. You would be the first human to set foot there. Admiral Gray put a hand on Olivia's shoulder. It seems your first diplomatic mission as ambassador is already being arranged, she said with a smile. Olivia looked from the armor to Victor to the Admiral. 6 weeks ago, she had been studying alien cultures in classrooms. Now she was being asked to represent all of humanity to a species that had nearly been their enemy, all because of 23 seconds of desperate courage. I accept, she said finally, both the position and the invitation to your homeworld. As the Vrakashi warriors cheered in their clicking language, Olivia realized that her life had changed forever. The path ahead would be challenging and strange, but she was ready for it. After all, if she could survive being shot and emerge holding an alien commander's head, she could handle being an ambassador. The treaty signing was just the beginning. A new chapter in human and Vrakashi history was opening, and Olivia Martinez would be at its center, helping two very different species learn to understand each other. It wasn't the future she had imagined for herself, but it was the future she had earned one decisive moment at a time.